All right, you're still watching Standpoint. Thanks for staying with us. We have the Director of Programs, Yaga Africa, still with us, Cynthia Obamalu. And she joins us via Zoom. And we have in Abuja studio a legal practitioner, Oke Nebedum. I just want to quickly, before we move to the next conversation, Cynthia, in just maybe a minute, just wrap up that statement you were making earlier about what people should do when they get to INEC office.
Yeah, so before going, you can actually confirm your status online on the INEC portal. It's cvr.inecnigeria.org. No space, INEC Nigeria, all small caps.org. You would go there, you're required to put in your name and your date of birth. It provides your registration status, so you can even confirm if you're on the register by following this process. And it can also identify your ward and polling units. That way, you'd be going to the right location. INEC also provided some phone numbers that you can send a text with your name, your ward, and your LGA, and you receive a message telling you where to go to collect your PVC. If you go on the INEC Twitter page, I know one of its numbers, if I'm allowed to call out the numbers, is an SMS. You send a text and it replies you with your location on where to pick up the PVCs. Am I allowed to call out the number?
Yes, but I need to launch up. I will come back to you. Just give me a minute. I want us to take a look at this report by one of our correspondents, Joke Adisa, on INEC saying, look, there is no plan to postpone this election. We will talk about that and other facts and figures released by INEC after this report. Stay with us.
Section 10, subsection 6 of the newly enacted Electoral Act mandates INEC to present a clean register of would-be voters to political parties well ahead of any election.
So I present this to your party. Take it easy now.
It is in fulfillment of this provision that INEC is meeting with representatives of political parties. Nigeria now has 93,469,008 registered voters. Lagos State takes the lead with 7,060,195, and it is followed by Kano with 5,921,370, while Kaduna is just behind with 4,335,208 registered voters.
49,054,162, or 52.5%, are male, while 44,414,846, representing 47.5%, are female.
In the last 48 hours, INEC has been at the center of discussions regarding its fears that rising insecurity may compel a shift in the 2023 general election, which is about 6 weeks away. This has generated widespread reactions, even from the government of the day, which insists nothing will jeopardize the elections. The chairman comes out to clarify INEC's position, expressing its resolve to forge ahead with the elections. He says anything contrary is a personal opinion.
The repeated assurance by the security agencies for the adequate protection of personnel, materials, and processes also reinforces our determination to proceed. The 2023 general election will hold as scheduled.
The political parties applaud the efforts of the Commission so far and promise their continued support towards achieving set goals. They promise to scrutinize the INEC document as they affirm their support for the elections to hold as scheduled.
Political parties are resolved to ensure that we cooperate with the Commission to ensure that the Commission have a smooth and successful election.
We've been campaigning for the past almost 1 year now, and we have a set target of the election coming on the 25th of February for the first one, second one on the 11th of March. So it's a welcome development, and we are excited that INEC keeps the timetables.
The situation in Anambra was tensed, but the Commission went ahead with the cooperation of other political parties and then held the election. The atmosphere now is more peaceful than what we had during the Anambra governorship election. So there's no reason whatsoever why the election will not hold.
The coast is getting clearer with 11 out of the 14 scheduled activities of INEC for the 2023 elections now executed. Nigeria now has over 93 million registered voters as attention shifts to PVC collection, which is slated to end on the 22nd of this month. Joke Edsa, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, let me take the conversation to Okeodebedum in Abuja studio. So INEC is now having to reassure Nigerians that this election will not be postponed. It will not be rescheduled for any reason. After a statement made by a representative of the INEC chairman at an event, that if security challenges are not handled, this election might be postponed or outrightly cancelled. How do you react?
I presume that if he feels the pulse of Nigerians, such statements of fear or of pessimism may not be needed at this moment. All Nigerians want to hear now is positive vibes and let the tempo increase. Let us rise and speak peace to our country. Let us be positively minded. The timelines for INEC, out of which more than 50% of the timelines has been achieved by 22nd of January, we would have been done and dusted with collection of the PVC, only looking towards the presidential election. So if we, out of the milestones that are more than 11 or thereabout, if we have achieved and ticked more than 50% of them, then we shouldn't be talking about the election might be cancelled. Insecurity has been with us and has even been worse than it is being predicted. There are pockets of reportage here and there, but that does not indicate that there would be, even though one would have expected that it is a collective responsibility that our security agencies know and are aware that elections are going to be held. They should be able to be proactive, not always being responsive. Let them be proactive in the sense that simulate these situations and then use data of the activities of these hoodlums and activities of those terrorists to predict some of those hotspots, to predict some of those locations, and then make deployments of resources with intelligence gathering. And they would nip these incidents on the board, because it is not rocket science to guard Nigerians. These are just few elements putting fears in the minds or terrorizing the country, which I believe strongly Nigerians are very peace-loving people. Nigerians are very enthusiastic to participate in the 2023 elections, and they want to do so at the cost of their daily activities. We have this tradition that on election days, businesses are shut down. In fact, almost the whole country is shut down. We are still smattering from the normal, brick and mortar to digital conducting elections. But we look forward to one day when we'll be voting from the comfort of our homes through devices we hold in our hands or through USSD or different platforms.
Absolutely. Just making the election process
first of all, also the cost, what it costs Nigeria.
But let me bring in Cynthia here, because Cynthia, you will speak to two things, because I know earlier you wanted to call out some numbers. I'll let you do that now. And then, is it easy to just say, look, these issues are there, but we cannot postpone the elections when these issues have not been resolved? I remember I spoke with your director of, is it publicity? I think it was Paul James, who had said, look, the issues are there. In some states, as we speak, it's even difficult for some people to deploy, or some organizations to deploy election observers to those areas, and that these issues are there and should be dealt with.
Yes, the issues are there, but what is important is the Electoral Commission has assured Nigerians that they will be proceeding with the elections. And while INEC, by the Electoral Act, has the power to postpone elections, I think it's important. The Act is clear. It says it must be cogent and verifiable. The reasons for postponement must be cogent and verifiable. But the Act also empowers INEC to provide for voting for voters who have been displaced by any reason, and which is why the Electoral Commission has a framework for voting for internally displaced persons. So INEC already has done its assessment, and there is a fair sense on locations where voting may not happen in those communities because the people have been displaced to other communities. And so I know some states will have things like super council, people would vote. So INEC would move the polling units to where the people are. And I know one of the things that we as the people want to hear from the commission is not just the commission assuring us, but we also want to hear from the security agencies that they are doing all that is necessary to deploy efficiently to secure lives and properties for the elections. I think that level of assurance from the security is what we also need, not just from INEC, because at the end, election security is beyond the Electoral Commission. But what is important is that the Electoral Commission needs our support as a people. And like it has been said, the fight against insecurity is a collective effort. And for some communities where we're having incidents of unknown gunmen and what have you, we as a people, we also need to start making those reports to identify people causing chaos in those communities. I think it's also important we all become part of the fight against insecurity. But most importantly, it's not just a statement by INEC. We need the security agencies to also put the things they need to put properly in place and build confidence in the people and in the Electoral Commission that these elections will be conducted in a peaceful and safe environment for voters, for the electoral officers, and for the elections materials. So that for me is what is important. I do not believe in postponement. Nigerians are waiting for these elections. Nigerians believe that we deserve an election, and I believe that a lot of people are hoping that we would have a credible process. So we would provide the support that the Electoral Commission needs at this point in time. And as citizens, we should also know that the officials of INEC are members of our own families. So we also need to protect and secure INEC officials in our communities. They are people's family members and people's loved ones too. And they are performing national service in a very difficult terrain with very minimal welfare support and package. So we also need to accord them the support and respect that they require to do their work in our communities. So no to postponement, and we're looking forward to a peaceful conduct. And for the numbers, actually, it's an SMS service. It's the flyers is on the INEC Twitter. One of the numbers is 0906 283 0860. 0906 283 0860. That you just send your name and your state, your LGA and your ward as a text message. You get a reply providing you details on where to collect your PVC. The other number is
right. So I think that Cynthia's network is erratic there, but I would ask her, we would definitely get that number for her when she returns. But let me get to Nebidum. Cynthia made a very key statement about the fact that, look, sometimes the credibility would challenge the credibility of elections. And then we also challenge whether INEC is biased or not in election, with every election. How important is it? Because there are people right now who, if their candidate do not win, then automatically that election wasn't free and fair. How important is it that, politicians make the right statement at this moment?
Oh, yes. We have some parts of our electoral laws that has never been tried in the course of law. And that is part of the conduct you just mentioned, a situation where the leaders or politicians, in their own rights, having their own followers who do not call out their followers and guide them with the proper conduct and proper use of the right words, as against incitement, insults, disparaging statements, or even bandying about a certain outrightly wrong information in order to tarnish the image of the opponents. INEC is yet to activate the law in that direction. And I believe it is a collaborative effort, because assuming that we understand that the law has been passed and there is a violation of that law, it is a law regarding activities during the conduct of an election. INEC may not have the prosecutorial powers. It may not even attempt to usurp the powers of the police, which is exclusive to them, which is like a monopoly to handle prosecution. In fact, starting from investigation of crime in this country and in other Commonwealth jurisdictions. So there needs to be collaborative efforts, both in terms of prosecution of electoral law offenders regarding false statements, regarding incitements, regarding outrightly false information in order to tarnish people's image. I know that the law on libel is out there, but oftentimes to let us dovetail it directly and positive within the conduct of electioneering campaigns so that people would take lessons. There should be deterrence. And if the law is tried with one or two offenders, I believe that it's going to strengthen our conduct during electioneering campaigns, and people will stop maligning other candidates on account of trying to, raise votes and in a way of campaigning. No, that is not going to be, and we need to be making progress. I haven't said that. I also want to mention the fact that despite the fact that there are
all right. Let me put you on hold. Okay, but you understand that. Apologies for that, for interrupting. I know you were making a very key point, but let me bring Cynthia in. I have very few minutes left. I wouldn't want us to end this program without people getting that information. I think it's very important, as we now have just about 8 days for people to collect their PVCs. Cynthia, please go ahead.
Yes, okay. So I was calling the second number. The second number is 0906 283 0861. 0906 283 0861. You just send an SMS to this number, your state, LGA, and ward, and you'd be informed where your collection center is, just so you're not wasting time going to the wrong location to get your PVC.
So you're sending your name and local government and ward to that number, so that, especially for people who...
you're just sending your state, the name of your state. So, okay. Like, for instance, you send, if you're in Abuja, you'd send Federal Capital Territory. And if you're in our local government is Abuja Municipal Area Council, you send AMAC. Okay. So you're sending your state and your local government area to that number. If you have your ward, if you know the name of your ward, you can send the name of your ward. Most times, the name of your wards are very common names. So you could send the name of your ward also, state, LGA, ward, to that number.
All right, thank you. So it is SMS and not call. So people are sending SMS,
yes, SMS
to that number. Don't call it, especially for those who do not have access to internet. If you live in a rural area, this is a good way for you to get information about where your PVC is. And then also talk to us, because what should people take along? Because some people say, look, I don't have my slip anymore, or I didn't think that I needed my slip. What should you take with you when you're going to collect your PVC?
While you're required to go with your slip, the other thing is there's no running away from this, because you can go on the INEC portal, the cvr.inecnigeria.org. It shows you your details, so you can take a screenshot of that detail and show them. If for those who have lost their slip, I know that's what was happening, because they need your VIN, your voter identification number. Or if you took a picture of your slip before it got lost, you can go with a picture. They just need that information that has your name, your VIN, and your location of registration. So which is why if you don't have your slip, you can go on the portal to get your detail.
All right. So I'm sorry, that's where we'll leave it. I wanted to hear from Mr. Okenebodin before we leave, but we do not have enough time. I really want us to look at this figure, so I'm hoping we can have you or anyone from Yaga Africa again next week, because I know this is what you do. You do a lot of research in that area. We want to break down these figures for people to understand what it actually means and not speculate. Thank you so much for talking to us. Director of Programs, Yaga Africa, Cynthia Bamalu, also legal practitioner, Oke Unebodum. Thank you both for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you can catch a repeat of the program tonight at 11 p.m. You can also watch 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. I am Precious Amayo. Thanks for watching.